Has the outgoing board of the National Youth Development Agency fulfilled its mandate? Have alleged ANC SACP tensions filtered down to the NYDA? Is the NYDA well equipped to address youth unemployment? And what makes economic participation one of the NYDA's key areas of focus? What time is it? It is question time. Welcome to Question Time. My name is Mpho Tsedu. The National Youth Development Agency was launched by an Act of Parliament number 54 of 2008. It was established to be a single unitary structure established to address youth development issues at national, provincial and local government level. Today is the last day in office for the board of directors that was sworn in by President Jacob Zuma in 2013. Question Time asks, has the outgoing NYDA leadership succeeded in addressing the challenges faced by young South Africans? A reminder that we are live. Therefore, you can call us and hear your views. The numbers to dial 089 110 4210, 089 110 4210. Our Twitter handle @QuestionTime24. My guest, Kenny Morolo, is the Deputy Chairperson at the National Youth Development Agency, or rather should I say the outgoing chairperson. Can you welcome? Am I correct? You're outgoing.
I am outgoing. Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your viewers.
Okay. Let's get this thing out of the way and then we'll deal with the real issues of the NYDA. The politics of the SACP and the ANC seem to have, you are not necessarily at the center of the fight, but somehow blood spilled, and you were a bit affected.
Well, I have absolutely no conception of the effects of the politics of the South African Communist Party and the ANC, insofar as the operations of the NYDA is concerned, or are concerned. Rather, what I can tell you in response to your question is that when the NYDA was appointed in 2013, we were given a very clear and unambiguous message from the President of the Republic of South Africa. It was that we should restore the NYDA and we should clean up. We had inherited an institution with a credibility deficit. There were some sections of society which had called for the NYDA to be scrapped. And so we had to respond to the narrative by society or sections of society, but we also had to respond to a very clarion call by the President of the Republic to restore and clean up the NYDA. Now, the question that I should pose, of course, is a rhetoric question. It's whether we've succeeded in that mandate or not. And the answer is that we have over-exceeded our expectation with respect to the mandate of the NYDA. I can tell you that when the NYDA was appointed in 2013, there were a number of challenges. There was a loss of faith in the programs of the NYDA. Young people had said that the NYDA is not visible enough. In fact, generally we were told that the NYDA is useless and should no longer exist. I can tell you that when we were in Parliament about 2-3 months ago, we were congratulated by all political parties. In fact, one member of Parliament remarked, "What have you done to the NYDA?" The reality of the matter is that the strides, the achievements of the board of the NYDA and the entire team of the NYDA has placed the NYDA in a pedestal.
Okay. Well, you are a well-trained politician, I can see, and you didn't touch a thing on what I asked. So I'm going to ask the question again. SACP, ANC politics. When Colin Maine was elected, the Youth League was like the first target for us is the NYDA. Why?
Well, the President of the Youth League expressed his views on matters related to the NYDA, its programs, its ability to capture the young minds out there. I'm not in a position to speak for him. I'm sure he's better placed to speak for himself and explain the remarks he would have made upon his election as President of the Youth League. Okay. I can only speak for the board of the NYDA, which is outgoing, as you have already said.
Is it a communist board?
Well, I'm not a Communist Party member. I've never been. I literally grew up in the ANC. I've always been a member of the ANC. I've been in the ANC for more than 2 decades. I've never been a Communist Party member. Yeshen Pillay, the outgoing chairperson of the board, is the national chair of the Young Communist League. Okay. And all other members of the NYDA board are not even members of the Communist Party. So in that context, if the question is whether it is dominated by communists, the question is no.
Okay.
I mean, the answer is no.
One of the projects that I liked was the Solomon Mahlangu bursary, or what do you call it? The
Solomon Mahlangu Scholarship Fund.
Scholarship Fund. Let's just talk about that. Firstly, why it was named after Kalush, and what it entailed.
Undoubtedly, Solomon Mahlangu is a decorated cadre for our movement, who was a young person who lost his life daringly. You'd remember that he died the apartheid regime in 1979 on the occasion of his death on the 6th of April. But he reminded us of the profundity of being a revolutionary cadre, a selfless cadre who would have fought for his movement and his people, the liberation of his movement and his people. So we owe it to the likes of Solomon Mahlangu, to the likes of Hector Peterson, to the likes of C.H. Mashinini and many other unsung heroes to really, in their honor, do good to society, but also improve on the services and programs that are offered to young people. And so it was a fitting tribute to Solomon Kalushi Mahlangu, a young man who promised that his blood will nourish the tree of freedom, who reminded us that he loves his people and that he will continue, and that he urges that they should continue to fight.
Yes. Michel, you are in Gauteng. Welcome.
Hi. Well, thank you very much for allowing me to speak, and it's much appreciated. The first thing I want to say is that we got a beautiful country. And the second thing is all the people inside South Africa at this current moment is facing the same difficulties as all over the world, economical part as well.
Yes.
I'm working, I'm an expat working outside the borders of South Africa on a rotation basis. And I've been in Nigeria. I've been in Nigeria for 7 years. And from what my experience in Nigeria wasn't that good, according to how we were treated in Nigeria. But currently I'm in Angola, or I've spent about 5 years in Angola.
Yes.
Now, what I would like to highlight about Angola, especially with their history, I think they got the worst history on the, and I don't want to name populations, but these guys had a rough time with the Civil War as well. And I think what we have to do is we have to go to Angola to actually see how the people are getting together.
Okay. Michel, I'm not so sure if you've called the right show, but thanks for the call. I thought perhaps you wanted to bring in the youth aspect of Nigeria and Angola, but I realize we seem to be going further and further away. But thanks very much for the call. Let's look at what you have achieved as this board for the past 3 years. Firstly, let's look at what you did with the Solomon Mahlangu Scholarship Fund.
Well, the Solomon Mahlangu Scholarship Fund is a scholarship fund that is tailor-made for the rural youth. Any scholarship fund is intended to reward excellence. And so the Solomon Mahlangu Scholarship Fund would have been a concept of the current board, which would have been launched in 2014 by the President of the Republic of South Africa. It would have been tailor-made to benefit the rural youth in the following. In the first instance, the scholarship fund is aimed at targeting these marginalized youth who under normal circumstances would not have received financial aid. Those who come from very humble beginnings, they must be from rural areas, there must be young people who would have passed matric with 70% pass rate. They must also have been from a household whose general income is less than 15,000 rand.
Okay.
They must have been young people whose intentions is to study in the institutions of higher learning, and the qualifications thereof must fall within the growth priority sectors, such as manufacturing, construction, agriculture, IT, aerospace, and so on.
Okay. I'm going to give you time to just tell us perhaps some of the highlights, of your term of office. But we're going to take a quick break first. When we return, we'll be taking your calls. The number to dial 089-110-4210. The NYDA has been able to also basically put their finances in order, which was something that was not happening in the past. But before we go to the ad break, Happy, welcome. Very briefly. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Baba in the Northern Cape.
Hi, sir. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for the call.
Regards also to Kenny, the comrade Kenny.
Hi, comrade.
Yes. Look, I also want to obviously congratulate the NYDA and its current outgoing board on the sterling work that they've done to obviously resuscitate the work and the perceptions held by the public, especially the youth of the NYDA. But my question, just quickly and briefly, is to Comrade Kenny, what could be done, to open up the youth to the township economies? We see a lot of opportunities in the townships, brewing, and we see that, outsiders, lest I not mention foreign nationals, have identified this niche.
Okay.
And just the diversity that they've managed to come up with in obviously, the township economy, and taking advantage of the large, economies of scale available to obviously come up with products that have been there but have not been taken advantage of by our locals.
Baba, thank you very much for the call. Very quickly, Ken.
Well, our migration from economic development to skills and development, or enterprise development to skills and to education and skills, was premised on the fact that the majority of our young people, and this is what research has shown, that majority of our young people derive their income from salaries and remittances. The answer to the question is that we need to equip young people with requisite skills. For instance, I'll cite an example. A young person who, for instance, wants to access a business grant program in the NYDA will have to go through an enterprise development program, where these young people are incubated on the character of an enterprise and an entrepreneur, but also on what is required to hold the business together. So until such time that these young people are equipped with requisite skills, it will be very difficult for them to prosper business-wise.
Let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll continue with our call, with our program rather. The numbers to dial 089-110-4210 at question time 24 is our Twitter handle. We shall return shortly.
Inside us all lurks greatness, bravery, guts, determination. Every time you get down, you get back up. You take us all forward. You raise the bar, and we salute you, party comrade, with a bottle of Valentine's whiskey for just $139.99 from Tops at Spa.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest is Kenny Mrolong, is the Deputy Chairperson of the outgoing board of the NYDA. Soli, you are around Gauteng.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Sure, go ahead.
My brother, I'm just going to ask one simple question. The question is, if the development of the youth is primary to the African National Congress and its struggle, why has the African National Congress neglected, to a certain extent, the education system as a vehicle to develop not only Gauteng, but to develop the whole youth in terms of making sure that the infrastructure and the drive to maintain and ensure that delivery is maintained? Why have the African National Congress left it to the youth now to start fighting a new?
Soli, I'm battling to get your question. I'm not so sure if you're still on the line. Are you able to repeat it?
Yeah, I mean right now we're having institutions such as...
Whoa, Soli, absolutely not our fault. If you are able to, please do call again, 089-110-4210, 089-110-4210, so that we'll be able to take that call once more. Our Twitter handle at QuestionTime24. Now, Kenny, you were able to get your finances in order, which was really unexpected. You know, when people spoke of the NYDA, all they remembered was the KISS conference.
I don't think it is a KISS conference. I disagree quite profusely with the suggestion that that conference was not well meant. Because this is how the media has projected it, that it's not, and some political commentators, including public opinion makers, that this was a waste of time and so on. You know that the World Federation of Democratic Youth, it's a concept which was born in 1945, whose intention was to fight fascism and fight imperialism. The idea behind the conference was to put South Africa in that space so that we can engage globally with young people, our counterparts in other countries, progressive countries, to share ideas on how we can reshape and deepen our democracy. And I'm saying this was an important platform. I don't want to get into the festival because it's the subject of the probe of the public protector. I hope that at an appropriate time she will express herself with respect to the outcomes of the investigation. But we needed to clean up. The message was unambiguous, and what we needed to do, amongst others, was that we needed to introduce what we call consequence management. It means people who do wrong must be held accountable. There must be some punitive measure so that people should not just abuse state resources and underperform in the responsibilities they've been given without consequences, and this is what happened. You would remember that when the NYDA board was appointed in 2013, our irregular expenditure stood at 16 million. Yeah. The last financial year, our irregular expenditure was 500,000. I can tell you now, we would have wanted it to be at zero. Yeah. But I can tell you it's less than 50,000 this financial year as we exit. So these are some of the strides we've been able to make because of consequence management, because we held people responsible and accountable. But it was also a consequence of our turnaround strategy, which was effected in 2014. Okay.
Itumeleng, you're in Pretoria. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Mpo.
Sure.
I want to ask, as this is a question time.
Yes.
Whether the NYDA only hire people from the ANC? Can someone from the EFF, DA be hired by the NYDA? And then the issue of hashtag fees must fall. The NYDA was nowhere to be seen. Okay. The issue of Nyaupe, drugs that are ravaging our youth. The NYDA, we don't hear about it. Are they only concentrating on businesses? If they are doing something, it's like a drop of water in an inferno. They are doing little because we don't see them. All these people who come to your show, Mponi, yes, it's like they live in another country and we live in another country.
You only see them here.
They talk, they talk flourishing English, they talk very good, but we don't see those things. That's the problem. It's like they insult our intelligence. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks very much, Itumeleng.
The visibility of the NYDA is unquestionable. It has been unquestionable in the past 3 years. We've gone to almost all communities that we could go to, especially communities which would not have been exposed to the NYDA products and services previously. We have gone to communities where young people would have complained that they have absolutely no knowledge of the NYDA's programs and products and services. And we did that because we wanted young people to have access to the NYDA. I mean, the work that the NYDA does on education cannot be overemphasized. Career guidance, we've reached more than 900,000 young people on group and individual career guidance program, because we want to steer young people into making correct subject choices at high school consistent with the economic growth path. The Solomon Mahlangu Scholarship Fund speaks volumes about the kind of work that the NYDA is committed to ensure that young people have access to quality education, and especially higher education. And so to simply state that the NYDA has not done enough with respect to matters of education, it's incorrect, and in fact it's economic with the truth. We wish to state also that we're not focused only on enterprise development. It can be true. We've got health and wellness programs. We've got programs that are intended at making sure that young people live healthy lifestyle. Okay, let's talk to Stephen in Limpopo. Welcome, Stephen.
Hello, how are you?
We are well. Thanks for the call.
Yes, man. I just want to congratulate the NYDA, man. I got a grant without a favor. I just applied like any other youth in South Africa.
Okay.
So I got a grant. As I speak, they drilled me a bowl last week. They give me a material fence for my about 7 hectares at a village, at a rural village in Mojaji.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just want to congratulate the NYDA for the job that they're doing.
All right.
Okay. Can I speak to Comrade Kenny?
Oh, yes, he's listening. Go ahead.
Okay, no, I want to congratulate you, my comrade. You are doing well. Though I'm working very hard at the rural village. I just got the information from leader. I went to NYDA, the NYDA of Polokwane. They have assisted me very, very well. As I speak now, I've got a borehole, I've got a fence. I think I will be busy. I will still call NYDA to come and check my progress. Okay,
thank you very much. Well, I guess you didn't pay that caller to come and shower you with praises.
We're extremely humble. Part of what we do when we undertake this outreach programs and dialogues is that we afford young people who have been touched through one product or service of the NYDA to speak about their success stories, to narrate how the NYDA has been able to effect tangible change in their life. So we're very humbled by so many of these young people who continue to come up and say, this is what the NYDA has been able to do to me. Okay. And we hope that they will be able to also plow back to their different communities.
Perhaps shortly, we've run out of time completely. Your message to young people as this board, as you sign off?
Well, we are celebrating the 40th anniversary of the Soweto Student Uprising this year. We owe it to the youth who perished in June 16 and in many years to come to ensure that we create a better South Africa for all. Okay. And education remains our key priority focus. We want young people to take advantage of these opportunities at their disposal. They have absolutely no right and no excuse not to take advantage of these opportunities and equip themselves with requisite knowledge. Madiba remarked quite succinctly that education is the greatest weapon which we can use to defeat poverty.
Perhaps as we close, is there a way, I know you have done some trips in the past or funded some trips in the past, is there a way where you'll be taking young people to countries like Zimbabwe to see what they did in terms of the freedom of South Africa?
Well, we are doing that. Okay. We've got an EduTour program which is undertaken by Solomon Mahlangu. Yes, which we're undertaking in Tanzania. This is part of what we're doing. We've got a relationship with the Namibian government, the Youth Service, Flemish government, and so on. So there's a lot of work that we're doing with outside countries.
Kenny, all the best. And that was Question Time for today. Have yourself a wonderful time. Goodbye.